So first, I'll just say it's really lovely to meet you, Kasama. It's cool to see like the information about the startups coming forward, but when you actually meet the founder, it adds this whole other level of understanding and a dimension that you kind of really get much more invested and committed to a startup. And you've got such an interesting name that immediately you stand out anyway on paper. Where did Omelet come from?
Well, Omelet it's what we do for corporates here in Thailand is we help them create new innovation in social commerce. So we wanted Omelet. When you talk about omelet, right? It reminds you of breakfast, warm and fuzzy feeling in your belly. We wanted when you think about our service and our product, give that same feelings and reminiscence.
Got it. Yeah, cool. It works because it does. And it's actually, for me anyway, it's a bit of a fun, it is a creative food because anything can
It
go in,
is.
but whatever it
Yes.
produces, it's always super tasty and satisfying and personal. So
Yeah.
big
And
ups.
anyone can make omelet, right? But someone who make omelet really tasty is difficult to find, right?
Yeah.
And omelet is a staple. Anyone can know how to do it, but to find a chef that really nailed down omelet, like that recipe, I think that's special. And we want it to be that special person for the clients.
Yeah. I mean, I think even that thought that went into your name probably, precedes what your startup is all about. Like, if that's the kind of thought that you put into the name of your startup, I'm really excited for you to tell me in your words what CATE and your startup do.
Yeah, sure. So since Omelette has been in this space for in social commerce space for about 4 or 5 years, in the past we've worked on in the business model that we've worked on is service based. So we are partner with Line and Facebook here in Thailand, and so whenever a corporate wants to do some innovation, some system integration, some chatbots, they would come to us. However, when after 4 or 5 years, we have started to see similar requests. We started to be able to serve a very, very wide range of use cases. For example, in Thailand, we have a large corporates that use social media to manage their own branch or to use it to manage their own network. We work with Amway here in Thailand. Um, uh, they use social media to manage their Amway business owner network and use the social media to accelerate each business units, each business owner's portfolio. So that's why we came up with the idea of CATE. CATE is not a chatbot. It's a chat automation whereby it's a click based. So it's not tied to any language, any NLP. Because here in Thailand, it's quite different from English speaking countries whereby our characters are quite difficult to do NLP on. And we've been in space for 4 or 5 years. We haven't seen anyone to truly master the NLP here of Thai language. And we believe that for Southeast Asia, it's the same, right? Every country has different languages. So how can we automate these chats that's not limited to language barrier? What we do is a chat automation builder with over hundreds of templates from our experience in the space, working with large corporates to enable SMEs and smaller businesses to create these automation for themselves. In this day and time, everyone has social media. Yeah. If you're a barber, you would want to take your bookings from social media, right? People would, if you are a beauty clinic, you would want to promote or answer some FAQ question or take some booking or give rewards to your customers. And these are all done through social media here. And so this is how we came up with CATE.
Yeah, I mean, even just as you said all of that stuff, I realized that completely without thinking, it's a one-stop shop, social media. Why wouldn't you build out your business from a platform that's already been built and is constantly iterated to suit people's needs, so that you can book, see reviews, add your own, see pictures. It's a really awesome place to be working in. And so with the sort of day-to-day challenges that you might face, what sorts of things does your particular line of business throw up at you?
Well, for starter, when we talk about chat automations, people immediately think about NLP here. Everyone, right, will think about bots. Oh, how can you read these Thai languages? How do you read Vietnamese? How do you read English and stuff like that? So that was the first challenge that we usually see. Not from the corporate side because we have existing relationship with them, but from SMEs or the people that the target customer we have talked to and do tests, usability tests with. That was the first question we had to kind of clarify, to distinguish between our product and the normal NLP chatbots. That's one. Number two is, I think it's when you talk about social commerce space, a lot of people always think about buying and selling stuff. Like, oh, to use these solutions, you have to buy, or you have to sell clothes, you have to sell shoes, you have to sell something, right? But from our experience, it's not just buying and selling. It's much more that you can book. We have worked with Shell to do some booking service in their gas station. We believe that a barber can use it for his or her booking salon session. For masseuse booking, for many more. That's just booking, right? That's also customer service, like FAQ on how to return a product, how to claim a product. And we can also automate those claim process as well. For example, there's one client that we are working on. She is a company that's owner of electric appliances here in Thailand, and they wanted to do some automation on their claim and warranty registration. And so we help them with that. So that's the second challenge we usually face, that customer or people who think, when you think about social commerce, the first word that will pop up is e-commerce. And yeah, it's not only limited to only that.
Yeah, and I mean, you're so ahead of the curve here because, for example, with Facebook and the metaverse and everything, it is going into the direction of everything being in there with virtual and mixed reality and the actual, immersive online experience. So everything happening actually in that space, not just outside it, but yeah, it's not just e-commerce, it's everything. It's absolutely everything you can make it and leverage it. So it sounds like a challenge that you've risen to, that not much is going to stop you.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And I guess here's a fairly tired question, but maybe one that has stopped a lot of people. Has COVID affected or transformed your business at all?
It does, actually, and it's actually COVID is the accelerator for us for creating CATE. Before COVID, we worked with large corporates. We were able to easily sell large size projects, so millions of Thai baht in our projects. But with COVID hit, large corporates has less budget for a similar size product and services. But we have seen that smaller players starting to approach us. People like are people in my own circle that are small business owners with revenue size maybe $1 to $2 million per year, starting to approach me on how can they automate or how can they switch their businesses from offline to online better. And so that's how we believe that the market is much larger than we initially think. And hence CATE is born.
Yeah, right. Okay, so accelerated, if anything. And with we're really happy to have you on board in Highway to 100 Unicorns, because it's such a, you've got such an interesting take on things and such a dynamic approach, such a clever, bright brain.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to have you in the program, because it's our job to foster whatever we can from a Microsoft point of view and give you what you need that you can see getting out of this program. So, do you have any ambitions or hopes that you want to achieve through this program specifically with Microsoft? Is something that you could see from the start?
Yeah, well, to start, right? Since this project of us, I myself, I'm not a technical person. My background is actually in finance and business. So I would love Microsoft to be our tech partner to help us scale during taking care of all the infrastructure, DevOps, and any tools that can help us leverage. I just had a conversation with a VC a couple of days ago. And he mentioned that he's very interested in us because the market that we are playing, once we reach up to our full potential, we'll have access to data that no one else does. It'll be a new data set that's before is fragmented and manually collected. But with our solution, it will shed light into the new market and new space. So how can we focus and really nail down that execution of getting, all the infrastructure, all the layering, all the details out in time and great and in the best way possible. I think that's what I look to Microsoft on this.
Yeah, really valuable. I mean, that's what we do best. And if you bring what you do best to the table, then, fireworks. And I'm thinking bigger again. So if this, if this does go gangbusters the way that you see it happening, what would the impact on Thailand and the economic growth be? Like, how large do you see it going in your own country?
Oh, wow. Well, currently, social commerce is about 50% of the total e-commerce GMV here in Thailand. A lot of people are saying it could go up to 60%. I myself believe that if our solution can deliver to market in time and execute well, we could raise the number up to 70 or 80%. Because people are already in the space, but they are doing it in a way that are very labor intensive, inefficient, and no data. So we believe that if we are in the space, we can help not only the SMEs, but also anyone who are looking at the space and can leverage our data to help all those SMEs or to do their own business. So we truly believe that there's a high potential in this. And we are looking at overseas as well. Vietnam is another space that has a very high similar consumer behavior to what Thailand does. I'm hoping, when the COVID is better, I'm hoping to fly and maybe spend a month or two there in Vietnam to really explore and how we can do there.
Yeah, it's great. It's great that things have opened up enough to go and do that, because there's nothing like being on the ground when you're trying to understand the landscape of something. And you answered a couple of questions that I had in that answer there, which is excellent, about where you intend to grow and what your plans for the next big opportunity. What are some key trends you're seeing in the market, and how's Omelet addressing them?
The trend that we see in the market currently is that a lot of people that are trying to get into the space, they are average person like you and I. So first thing that they needed to do is that they need is basic tech or product training. We just got a request from one of our clients who is a large corp, but he has a network of small SMEs, and they said, "Oh, can you come do a training for us on an existing product in the market. So that's how we starting to know that a lot of people are looking at the Facebook online as kind of, oh, I need to open it, like kind of open shop, and then they're done. But they haven't really gone through a process of maximizing value they can get from each channels, and they don't know how to. So that's a lot of market education, but more and more people are coming in. That's what we know for sure.
Right. I mean, I hope these are hitting you as the way they're hitting me, which is just constant reminders that you're onto such a good thing. You know, when there's so many sort of, not so much problems, but problem statements in and around this area, you just know that you're in the right place. And so I guess the last question is, what are some of the key criteria? This is sort of a technological question because I do want to know, you know, how Microsoft will be able to help with this. But what are some of the key criteria for you to make technology decisions for your company? You mentioned you're not technical yourself. So when you do think about what you need to do in a technological sense, what sort of key things would those be?
Yeah. Okay. I can give you a couple of things on top of my head. First is whenever I make a decision about technology in my company, I need to know that it can be scaled in a way that, for example, the language that I choose for the product or the service that we do, we could choose like Golang or Flutter 2 that is new, so creative a couple of years ago. But it's very difficult to find a developer or people who can actually build and master those languages. So scale is number one for me. Number two, it's flexibility. Flexibility in terms of I don't feel like I need to build everything from ground up, because I believe a lot of things that we are doing, it's not rocket science. It's just we are trying to solve a problem in a new way. But on a tech side, I don't think it's rocket science. So I want our solution to our tech product to be flexible, but yet interchangeable. We could start with one small solution for now during MVPs or during the first few year, but we need to be able to switch in and out as we scale. That's number two. Number three is definitely costing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really solid answers there. Sometimes we get security in there, but you know, it's so evident what different startups need. And I think even though you mentioned you're not a technical person, I think you kind of are. Like, you truly understand how agile it can be if you take a problem and sort of see it for what it is and go, well, look, this has been solved somewhere, or we can actually iterate on something that's already there, or, you know, you've got this sorted.
Fingers crossed, hopefully.
Pardon?
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. It's it really is exciting to listen to you talking about Omelet and CATE, where it's going, and how badly it's needed, and how easy you're going to make it for a lot of people. So really, really thrilled to have you in the program, because we'll get to sort of track your journey for the next, you know, for the rest of the year. And we'd love to check in again. But thank you so much for talking to me today. Thanks for your time and for your articulateness. You're so clear and agile. So officially subscribed.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your
Check
time
it
as
again.
well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.